Surprisingly, this body was very clean. There was almost no mold lines. What little bit of mold line was there was barely enough to even catch my marker. You see there, I dug the marker onto the line and it was enough to hold the marker. There were some spots on this kit that it wasn't even deep enough to do that. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the mold lines. The snail file I'm estimated is somewhere between 600 and maybe 650. I'm not really sure what grit it is, but it feels just like 600. And I will warn you now, if at some point I sound like I got marbles in my mouth or I'm mumbling, I just had a tooth pulled, and it's kind of painful. In the unboxing, I thought that this was a roll pan for a truck. It's actually the tail light bar. And it is welded in place, so we do not need that seam there. I'm just filling it in with a bit of super glue. You've seen me do this before. It's kind of hard to catch on film, but there are two sink marks at the front of each fender. Right there. And yes, I just filled that with super glue. And I forgot to edit sound out of this one, so I'm gonna talk over it so you don't hear me breathing like an animal. And after you fill it in with as much glue as you need, I just use a toothpick to chop the surface. All that really does is just break the surface tension, and it just lets it lay out smoother. And as I'm going with the race car here, I'm just gonna make the assumption that it doesn't have a horn or functional lights or anything that you need just to go a quarter mile really fast. So I'm gonna sand all them ugly wires it's molded in. Just gonna get rid of them. There's another sink mark that I need to fill with the glue. As you can see, with that filled in and all the wiring sanded off, it actually looks pretty good. And as I want the firewall and the fenders to also be body color, I'm just going to mock them up real quick. I'm going to hold the firewall in place with some alligator clips and then glue these on. just as I did with the engine bay. I also want the roll cage to also be body color, so I'm just going to mock that up real quick as well. I don't remember what I was trying to show you here. I must have thought it was important, but not important enough to remember. Finally, we can move on to paint. All I'm doing here is just using a compressed air to blow off any dust or dog hair. If you got a dog, that's always a problem. Or a cat. I guess cats also produce a lot of hair. It could also be my hair. I don't know where all this hair is coming from. And just like every other painting video I've ever done, we start with the spots that are easy to overlook. And this purple, for as good as it looks, it did not cover that well. It took the entire bottle just to get a solid coat. And here we are after coat 7, I think it was 7. I also ended up switching out spray guns halfway through. My little red brush just got a clog and I had paint about to flash off, so it was easier just to dump it in another gun and start spraying than it was to break down and clean it. If you pay close enough attention, I just throw that decal back in the water and abandon this all really quickly. And the reason being is that I record all this on my phone and the realtor was calling. I don't want to ruin the surprise just yet, as we still got some more paperwork to do, but we finally had one of our offers accepted. Anywho, good news aside, we got to get back to this kit. These decals are not very friendly. I don't know what it's called, but the clear bit that goes around the decal, it was rather excessive and very visible. That, however, was not really much of a problem as long as you take your time and make sure that decal lays flat. Once I was satisfied with the decal position and it laid out and starting to flatten, I move on to the chemicals. Now I just use part 2, as I call it, the microsol. Microset I really only use if I'm going over some rather intricate curves and I need it to stretch and soften out and lay down. This is just what I call a finishing chemical. It's really there just to really suck down the decal and flatten it out. And I got that airbrush clean. Not really sure what the clog was, as it was spotless inside. There was just no air moving through it. And those of you paying attention, you'll notice the only thing I got down here is the body. And just like the other ones, I'll go over my mixture here. I always do a 3:1:1 ratio. That's 3 parts clear, 1 part hardener, and 1 part thinner. And somebody asked, and I promised I'd show it. That is the thinner I use. It's just a hardware store jug. It was $6, $7. I don't know, I've had it for about 4 years. It goes a long way. First things first, you just do a very light mist coat over the decals. All that really does is lock them in and prime them just for the heavier coat later. If you go right off the bat very heavy, it will actually burn through that decal. 2K clear is very harsh as far as chemical goes. Well, you remember what happened last time when my air hose got snagged and I spilled the entire bowl? You can see where it melted through the styrofoam right there. So it's doing the same thing to your decals if you go with a real heavy coat. And between coats, I always like to thin out my clear a little bit more, so I added another half milliliter to it, and all I'm doing is mixing it up here. You could probably see the body kicking around and moving a bit. I relocated my air compressor up higher, and it's actually on the same table. Before that, I just had it on the ground, and I was getting a little bit of moisture accumulation, so I moved it up higher. Don't know yet if it's gonna fix the moisture problem, but so far so good. And being that the only thing I'm doing clear coat on is just the body, I mixed up less clear than normal, and it ended up being just not enough. So I was a mad dash here just to mix up a bit more clear to finish off that roof. And not really sure where my mind was right now, but I thought for some reason I was laying out clear for the first time on this kit. So I mixed up an entire bowl of paint, or clear, whatever I'm doing right here. Since I had a lot of clear left over, I figured I'd do something I saw on another modeler's channel, and I'm just gonna lay real heavy into this with the thinner. And as you could probably see there, it just melted directly into the styrofoam. What I'm aiming to do here is I got some orange peel that I can see on the rear deck lid and some on the hood. What I'm hoping for here is that the extra thinner will melt, and I say that with air quotes, melt the clear and have it lay out smoother. And it ended up working very well. I wish I remember which modeler it was so I can mention it and give him credit. I don't remember who it was. Some dude that builds model airplanes. See that? That's how it looks when it's all said and done and dry. And that wraps up this video. I want to thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. If you know anyone that likes to build models, share this with them. Get them interested. Moving on, we're going to be doing the fun bits. We're going to do some scratch building and a whole lot of kit bashing. I hope you're excited.